So, good morning, students. Today, in the continuation of this your second chapter, today we are going to discuss about last topic of this chapter is nitrogen cycle. So, as we know that nitrogen is one of the major constituent of our atmosphere, and it is present in about 78%, and it is also the essential constituent of the living organisms, either it is plant or animals, in the form of this protein, nucleic acid, chlorophyll, and other compounds it is present. So this is one of the important gas that is also present in our atmosphere. But as in the last topics we had discussed, this nitrogen cannot be utilized directly by the human being until or unless it is not converted into their compounds. Okay, so this conversion of nitrogen into its compounds, and again converting this compound into free nitrogen, and thus forming a cycle of this nitrogen gas. That's why it is called this nitrogen cycle, and this cycle takes place in our environment itself. Okay, so this cycling of this nitrogen gas first into their compounds, and from this compound again into the free atmospheric nitrogen. This is called this nitrogen cycle. So in this diagram you can see this is the cycle of this nitrogen. As we know that nitrogen is present about 78% in our atmosphere, and this cannot be utilized by the plants directly until or unless it is not converted into the compounds of this nitrogen. And this conversion can be done in our atmosphere during this lightning and thundering, and in the form of this fertilizers. This nitrogen can be supplied to the plants in the or in the soil, that can be absorbed by the plants. Okay, then this nitrogen that is present in the soil in the form of compound, it will be converted into gaseous nitrogen by the bacteria, and again it is released into the atmosphere. So this one cycle is completed. After that you can see this atmospheric nitrogen is nitrogen fixing bacteria that we had discussed about. This nitrogen fixation, it is converted into their compound, that is in the leguminous plants these bacteria are found, and this is nitrogen, atmospheric nitrogen is converted into its compounds that can be utilized by the plants, and then this same process will continue. After that you can see these plants, these compounds of nitrogen can be taken by the plants, and then from this plant it is to the animals. And this means the nitrogen that was present in the soil, first it will be taken by the plant. Okay, first it will be taken by the plant. We will discuss about this cycle. Like, first the nitrogen in the form of lightning and thundering, it is converted into the nitrogen compounds and come into the soil. Now this is taken by the plant. Okay, uptake by plant roots, then these plants will be consumed by the animals, and by these animals this is released again in the form of this nitrogenous waste in the form of excretion and death. Okay, like when we urinate, that we urinate this urea and it contains this nitrogen. Okay, and in the form of these nitrogenous waste it again come into the soil, and from here these compounds can be converted into the nitrogen and released in the atmosphere. Or during this death of the animals and plants, this is decomposed by decomposers, and during this, after decomposition, this nitrogen again released into the soil from in the form of their compounds. From this soil it is converted into the free nitrogen and again into the air. So you can see many ways. First this nitrogen is converted into its compounds, then it goes into the soil, it is taken by the plant, from this plant it reaches to the animals, and finally through these animals again come into the soil, and from the soil it is converted into the free form of this nitrogen, and finally it is released in the air. So you can see many ways it is moving in the form of this cyclic form. Okay, So that is why it is called this nitrogen cycle. Okay. So this was this last topic of this chapter, and it is now finished. So some oral questions are there. Name two methods of food preservation. So we had discussed many methods like this: salting, freezing, pasteurization, proper storage and packing, by adding oil, vinegar and spices, and many things are there. So you can write any two methods of that. Now, second question is ki what is preserved by pasteurization method? So it is milk. The second answer is milk is preserved by this pasteurization. Give two symptoms of spoiled food. So there are different symptoms of this spoiled food, and you have to write these two. Like this spoiled food start to emit foul smell, then change in the taste, then change in color, then nutrition values also affected. So you can write any of two from that. And what should we do to prevent the spoilage of food? So what should we do? We should to opt this food preservation. We should to opt this food preservation to prevent the spoilage of food. So dear students, the second chapter is now it is over. Next class we will discuss the different different questions of the exercises. Okay. So revise it properly so that we can discuss the exercise question. Thank you.